Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
So one approach to somebody with a, let's say, a weaker academic profile is to kind of build work experience and build work experience achievements. And that can clearly be an entry point into top B schools. And I'm not restricting this to SPJIMR.
We are going through a time when uncertainties are looming large over all the sectors. Education has been hit hard, and B schools are no different. We today have someone who is going to give us information about how the future of B school education is looking like and what can we expect in the coming months. I'm excited to have this conversation with Dr. Banerjee. Dr. Banerjee has been the Dean at SPJIMR since 2015. His research interest lies in the area of agency theory, applications to marketing channels, and Salesforce management, structural models, behavioral economics, to name a few. He also teaches courses like Learning to Learn, Change Management, and Design Thinking at SPJIMR. Dr. Banerjee has also worked in leading FMCG companies like Asian Paints, Vadilal, and Hindustan Unilever. He recently became the only Indian B school leader to be invited on the global board of GMAC and UNPRME. Thanks for joining today, Dr. Banerjee, and giving us time for this conversation.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to an engaging interaction.
With COVID having disrupted the set processes, online and virtual classes have become the new norm, and it will continue to stay like this for a while as the situations are right now. What are your thoughts on that, and how about the current education scenario?
There are cards we are dealt and how we deal with the cards that we are dealt. So it is our job to make the best out of the situations that we find ourselves in. And I think there are many opportunities that this crisis has revealed. And if you look at our institute, for instance, we sent our students back home in March, middle of March. And 15 days from that day, we were teaching online, and we have been smoothly teaching online. And some of our teachers actually are doing as well or better in the online environment as they are doing in the classroom. There are aspects of the classroom that are difficult to replicate, but we have realized that with an open mind, there is a lot that can be done online. One of the opportunities that I see is online allows us to completely rethink our model of visiting faculty. So earlier, when we have an international visiting faculty, that faculty comes down for 3 weeks. We put them up at the Marriott, and because they are there for 3 weeks, we conduct their classes in a bunch. Now it is possible for you to source visiting faculty from across the world. And the further thing is that if I'm doing a case study on a company, I can have the global CEO of that company, wherever they are located, come in for the last 10 minutes and give a perspective on that case. So I think there are opportunities in this that we need to see.
Like in a time like this, when we are going through an economic crisis, as you mentioned, do you think it's a proper time to have a B school education?
You will see some sort of a return to normalcy by the second half of 2021 is what one anticipates. So the students who are going to B schools currently, one, they should have nothing to worry about. But if you look at the larger trends, typically what it suggests is that the time to invest in yourself, when is it more valuable for you to invest in yourself? When opportunities are scarce or when opportunities are abundant? So the importance of differentiating yourself in a difficult situation is actually larger. If you are dealing with a certain set of top schools, I don't think you have much to worry about. I think the market for the top schools, they have regular recruiters. There are industries which are which have done quite well in the situation. So I don't think if you're looking at the top 10 and maybe even the top 15 business schools in India, I don't think you're going to see much of an issue. It's actually a good time to invest in an education. People who are joining today will actually go through a difficult phase, so they will build resilience. Then they will go through a new normal experience, and they will hit the market at the time when the market is moving up. So that is one direction. We also know of many sectors that are beginning to move up, sectors that are stronger. We know analytics is growing. We know consulting sector is doing well. I don't see an issue if you are looking at the top schools. If anything else, I would say that if you are getting into a mid-level school, which to me is something ranked between 10 and 50. And if you believe that you can move that to a top 10 school in 1 year, then that is a different decision. Okay, but with the top schools, I don't see how you can go wrong in this.
Why SPJIMR and why should students choose SPJIMR at this particular time? And what is going to be, the plus point or the USP for students who are going to join SPJIMR this year?
In the recent Financial Times Masters in Banking Management rankings, we are ranked 36th in the world. We are tied with IIM Bangalore, and one of our strongest points is simply that we are an entrepreneurial school and we are getting better very fast. Our placements are comparable with the top 3 IIMs, and there is quantitative data to back this up. So that's as far as a very tangible, rational thing is concerned. But so let me talk to you about how SPJIMR is different. One is SPJIMR believes in educating the whole human being. So if you are looking at our education, we are talking about knowledge, skill and attitude. We recruit for values. Examples out of this, we were the first in India to teach design thinking across the country. And Gartner had a survey on design thinking, I think in 2016, and they ranked 5 institutes across the world, Gartner India, as having very good resources on design thinking. This included Stanford, this included Illinois Institute of Technology, and there was one Indian institute, and there was SPJIMR. What would I look at? I would look at faculty-student connect. Because as a culture, our faculty will spend more time with you outside. I would look at SPJIMR is not just about education, it is about the whole human being.
You mentioned that, someone with a 94 percentile might, get a chance at SPJIMR. And that calls for the unique admission process and the process that you have set for, picking these students up. Can you talk a little bit about that admission process and why you actually opted for that?
Paul, I think the larger point is this. Can you take 25-year-olds and teach them values in 2 years? We believe you cannot. We believe largely your formative values are shaped by the time you enter a business school. So we can strengthen values. We cannot teach or create values. So therefore, we have to hire for values. Now the question is, how do we hire for values? So I think one of the things we are saying is that, for instance, if you have been in theatre and you have written plays and you have produced plays and actors in them, you have learned to trust other people. You have learned to coordinate with other people. You have learned the discipline of self-improvement. You have learned acting on feedback. So excellence in multiple areas, not just academic areas, is a predictor of your success in management. We have had many cases of people who we have recruited for versatility, maybe not 99, a lower CAT score, but again, we do look for a consistently strong academic background and we look for excellence in one non-academic dimension. And that is the first part of it, where we are looking for people who are well-rounded, who have multiple interests, and we bring them into the program through an extensive interview process. And we have a 2-phase interview process. The first phase is where we look at depth. And the second phase is where we look at what I will call values. Each of these interviews are group interviews. So given our emphasis, we are not looking just at what you say, but how well you listen under pressure and respect other people in that pressure situation. If you have the very traditional GD approach of saying, I will be the first one to speak and I will drown out other voices, that doesn't fly with us. We are looking for team players. We are looking for people who have courtesy and respect for other people. The second thing that to me is a big no-no is that, we do expect students to be well-read. So people who do not have some breadth and depth of reading and some interest, often that can be a bit of an issue. Thirdly, we don't have any problem with your taking a position which is either popular or not popular. But the extent to which you have thought through those positions and opinions, we think is very important. So one of the things that we have found generally, a very common mistake is to listen to respond, which means that I'm interested in as much as I'm listening to somebody else purely so I can decide what I am going to say next. I think it's a lot more than that. I think we're looking for collaboration.
On this note, I would like to know, for example, I have lower percentiles, right? I have a profile which I think is not suitable to get into one of these top B schools that I want to get in. do I stand a chance to get into SPJIMR basis, the kind of interest that I have, the kind of values that I have, and the way I perform in the personal interview?
One point of entry is your 2-year program where you're looking at work experience of 0 to 3 years. The other is, let us say, a 1-year program which people do after 5 to 7 years of work experience. And both of these programs are equally strong. Both of these programs are strong placements. So one approach to somebody with let's say a weaker academic profile is to kind of build work experience and build work experience achievements. And that can clearly be an entry point into top B schools. And I'm not restricting this to SPJIMR because I think your question is more generalizable. The second aspect is that if you are passionate about some area of activity and you have developed great proficiency in that area of activity, as long as your academic record is above certain base benchmarks. And there we will look at school and college also. That would be a second. The third is that in India, and we allow both CAT and GMAT, right? So take that entrance exam seriously. And that CAT or GMAT score is another way in which you can compensate. So I would have extracurriculars. I would say work experience and exceptional achievements in work experience. So basically, you will need one outlier in your profile to create that interest in the profile.
So, Dr. Banerjee, on this note, the incoming batch who are going to be part of SPJIMR are going to join soon. And this year is going to be definitely different from what we have seen or heard before. What, according to you, has been the steps that SPJIMR has taken for this particular batch to come in? And how is it in compliance with the health and safety regulations that have been set up by the government?
We have prepared with a business back to campus committee. We have also benchmarked things done in institutes across India and in institutes in China, which has been very strong in terms of their preparation. And we are looking at a variety of steps to implement social distancing on campus when they come back. We have also identified what are the places where students tend to congregate and have queues and where social. So, for instance, food. So we are saying that we will not have students go to the mess. We will have food packets being served in the room. We are re-looking at our occupancies so that, that when you're staying in the hostel room, there is enough kind of physical separation. If you look at our 2-year program, we used to teach in class sizes of 80. This year, we are teaching in class sizes of 60. Even online, we are teaching in class sizes of 60. And this was a visionary move because what we are saying is, we can't afford to have a section, build a bond and academic groups in class sizes of 80 online and then switch to class size of 60 because we've figured out with our current classrooms, we need to implement exam seating. The other thing is that, look, today we are not going to compel any student to come to campus, even when the government allows us to. So the choice will be left to the student, which means that a student can choose between being in a physical classroom and attending the same classroom live either from the hostel or from the residence, which means that we are having to repurpose our classrooms for this kind of hybrid, which means that there may be 30 students in the classroom and another 30 students on Zoom. And the faculty will have to master that teaching to the physical classroom but being accessible to the Zoom class also. So that is a technology solution that is being prototyped as we speak.
I would like to know who is an ideal fit. What should that candidate have intrinsically in them to become a part of SPJIMR?
The logo talks about 5 qualities. It talks about innovative, dynamic, socially sensitive, grounded, etc. I think the grounded part is very important. Some combination of being down to earth, grounded, strong on academic excellence, having ideas and interests outside academics. But I think the desire to develop yourself into a well-rounded individual. This word balance. Balance between competition and collaboration. Balance between self and the other. We are not typically looking for the extreme type A competitive win at whatever cost. And I believe that the business world will no longer value these types because we are moving to a more interdependent world. We are looking to develop value-based leaders of tomorrow. And for that, we are looking at A, do you have those values? And second, is that important to you? Are values important to you? Are the kind of peers you have important to you? Is collaboration an important value? is caring for the less privileged an important value? And is it at a deep level? And you have the self-belief that you can be the kind of human being you want to be and still have commercial success and conventional success. So that's a little ambiguous, but we seem to get there,
Thank you very much, Dr. Banerjee, for giving us time for this. I know you have a busy schedule and you have a lot of things that you have to put in place, but we hope that you get a very bright batch of students coming in this year as well, and this whole new model of digital education get its wings further. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. I enjoyed the conversation.
Applications for the PGDM course at SPJIMR are open till 27th November 2020. Click on the link in description below for more details.